So welcome to the Secure Dynamics TechCast. I have with me many times over former guest, Helen Patton, who is the advisory CISO at Duo Security, also an author and a teacher. Welcome back, Helen.
Thanks for having me again, Ashwin.
Thank you. So in your prior role, as well as as a writer and teacher, you've obviously encountered students who have shown an interest in cybersecurity, right? So, if you were to kind of just broad brush it, why do you think, or what sorts of things really attract these up and coming generation towards cybersecurity, and what is real and what's myths behind it?
Yeah, I think I really see two different stripes of college students. So let's keep it to the college student level. One is a student who's come through sort of the K-12 experience in a traditional techie kind of way. They've taken computer science classes, maybe in high school, they've done robotics. They're really coming to security as through the lens of technology. They sort of would really like to be an ethical hacker, maybe, or that kind of thing. They tend to also focus on the software side of things as opposed to sysadmin kind of work. So sec DevOps kind of work. They've probably done a lot of capture the flag kind of activities. They're taking classes on reverse engineering, that kind of stuff. The other side of it are students who get introduced to technology risk and then have an interest in the risk management side. And that can also express itself as technology or cyber policy as well. So if I was to generalize it, I'd call it the professional side. And this is where you get more into business majors, psychology majors, even legal. So you'll get some grad students who are like, I've got an undergrad, but I'm going to go and do my law degree and focus on technology law or security law. So those tend to be the two that I see coming through the school system.
So if you were to kind of fast forward and let's say somebody is in their mid-career, right? And say late 20s, early 30s. Clearly, I mean, cybersecurity is far from stable, right? But yet people kind of go on over there mid-career. So have you seen, I mean, complacency is probably a strong word, but how does somebody stay relevant? I mean, you mentioned sec DevOps, right? Even a decade ago, no one knew what sec DevOps was. Yeah. So in terms of what have you seen mid-career professionals stay relevant, stay current with what's going on versus say, hey, this is how I've done things and I've got my CISSP, so I'm good.
Yeah, there's things that people can do in the role that they are currently in. So definitely networking, being part of local professional organizations that have regular talks about things. There's a lot of information that's online that people can self-study against. So sort of depending on what their preferred learning style is, they can either consume passively or they could go and attend conferences or those kinds of things. Especially right now, there's a lot of online content that's free that before you used to have to pay a registration fee for. So there's those kinds of things. I also encourage people, if they're in the security profession, to really challenge their current employer to give them training. That the field moves too quickly just to think that you can sit there without really doing a lot of training. So at my old role, we doubled the training budget for the security team above what the general technology population did on purpose. And that was something as a hiring manager that attracted people, but also kept people. They liked the continuous learning that we put emphasis on. So networking, self-paced, employer-sponsored, all good things. And I really think the other thing is there's a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of really current resources that talk about not only emerging tech, but emerging threat and emerging techniques that we use in the security space. And I encourage people to find ways to slot that into their week. So either scheduling time during their work week or while they're walking the dog or, whatever to really stay on top of it. It's a really important piece of the profession to do that.
And it's very true also, right? Sometimes you have these filler moments, like I said, walking the dog or just doing a grocery run or
Yeah.
whatever, and to be able to hear that. So one question again, you've been a CISO for a long time, and clearly we started off with the two entry points, if you will. One is more of a technology entry point, one is more of governance risk and other humanities major. So and again, this is a loaded question, right? There isn't a right or wrong answer, but uh, today's CISO, what are the qualities that makes her or him successful? And how does somebody rise from being a mid manager to a CISO? And what are some of the pitfalls?
Yeah. Well, I think, first of all, not every CISO operates in a similar environment. So there's a lot of people with the title of CISO that are really IT leads who also do security. And then all the way through to CISOs that are part of large organizations that run large security specific teams. And so, first of all, not all CISOs are created equal. In general, though, you can't escape, regardless of how you got into the industry, you can't escape the fact that it is indeed a technical role. It's a technical role that I think, though, should sit in the business, not sit in tech. And so one of the skills is being able to translate what's happening in the tech world, what's happening in the security world from a technical perspective into what the business needs and how the business should interpret and judge technology and information risk. So there's an interpretive function. There's definitely a organizational management cultural change function that goes along with that. And then there are just normal sort of business skills, right? Any sort of C-suite, you need to know your budgets, you need to know your marketing, you need to know who all your stakeholders are and what they care about. And so definitely those things. Now, on top of that, you also need to be able to know how to run an incident, how to do crisis management, crisis response, and also talk to the board about it every now and again as well. So there is this really broad range of skills, even for very senior CISOs, that we're still all expected to know. And I think over time, those things will perhaps pull apart. I think you'll see a technical CISO, you'll see a BISO or a chief trust officer kind of role, and they will become really separate. But right now they're commingled.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because that was exactly the same comment I got from another individual yesterday about he was talking about a product CISO and then a business CISO, right?
That's right.
Especially with the supply chain. So one last question, and again, sometimes you end up in a job that you feel is not suited for you, right? So what are some of the warning signs for somebody who's kind of, let's say, stumbled into cybersecurity or made a choice and then realized, hey, this is not for me?
The warning sign is that you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, right? I mean, we all have days like that, but if there's a consistent sort of theme of, I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing, it doesn't matter how good the environment is, you're going to have a struggle with that. I think it's hard enough to get into security that people in security typically like something about security. And so if they're having trouble in a specific job, maybe with a specific manager or a specific role, they're still going to look for another security-like role somewhere else. But if you're really like, this vulnerability management stuff is just driving me nuts, or, if I have to talk about security strategy one more time to some customer, maybe then it's time to sort of say, is security really your thing? And maybe there's pieces of it that you like, but you should gather those together into a different sort of function. I think there is, particularly in security, it's worth being intentional about reminding yourself why you're in the role. It can be a high burn role, and if it's not immediately apparent to you why you like security, whatever security means to you, it can be really easy to burn out really fast.
Yeah, I mean that's such a true statement, right? Especially as you said, as you were describing the CISO role, my head was exploding, right? I mean, seriously, right? You come in every day, and again, having had the privilege of meeting you and lots of other CISOs, I think most of you are in it because you want to be in it, right?
Yes,
And then,
absolutely.
yeah, and if you don't want to, then you'll figure that out very quickly.
Very fast. Yes. Yes.
Again, thanks for your time, Helen, and good luck.
Thank you.